He said, they are scattered. And then he used this word, greetings, Cairo. In the Greek for the word greetings, it literally means kick your heels up. Now, why should I kick my heels up? He said, kick your heels up in spite of what you're going through. He said, rejoice. In other words, you see, many times our attitude mess up our altitude. That you can spend too much time pouting and miss God's blessings. Am I here by myself? You can spend too much time looking at the past and cancel out your future. So he said, in spite of what you're going through, he said, listen, leap for joy. Preach, Reverend Bray. Now, I discovered that when you learn how to leap for joy in spite of what you're going through, it changes you. And when it changes you, it will start changing stuff around you. If you believe the world owes you, you'll always have a problem. If you believe everybody mistreated you, you're going to be trying to climb the rest of your life. But when we learn how to take it as it is, there's some things we have to learn to live with. Because God will give us some roses and he'll give us some thorns. He will give us some friends and he will give us some enemies. He will give us some sunshine and he will give us some rain. Am I here by myself? He will give us some good days and he will give us some bad days. He will give us some sick days and some well days. And it's not either or, but it's both in. Y'all hear me? If it's a mountain, climb it. If it's a valley, trot on through it. Talk to me, somebody. If it's temptation, yield not to it. For yielding is see it. If it's a race, run it. Y'all don't hear me in this house. You see, I've discovered that our attitude will help us get much further than it would if we let Satan get the best of us. He said, greetings, watch verse 2. My brethren, same family, brethren, count Hagayamaya. In the Greek for the word count, it's this spreadsheet. You know, in banking terminology, you put on, whenever you're getting ready to make a loan, you have to put your spreadsheet out. You put your liabilities on one side and your asset on the other side. Your income on one side, your expenditures on the other side. But what I discovered is we do the same thing in life. We sing a song about, I've had some good days. I've had some hills to climb. I've had some weary days. I've had some lonely nights. But when I look around and think things over, my good days outweigh my bad days, so I won't come playing. James says, stop doing that. He said, don't be counting your good and bad days. He said, count it all joy. Am I here by myself? He said, count it all, because what you thought was a good day might be a bad day. And what you thought was a bad day might really be a good day. Because sometimes stuff that's good to us may not be good for us. Y'all looking at me strange. Let me preach to this side. Is there anybody in here ever got a hold to something that was good to you but wasn't good for you? Well, let me talk to this side over here. Is there anybody in this house here that ever got a hold of something that was sure enough good to you, but when you looked around, it sure wasn't good for you? Y'all gonna make me pull this by myself. Now, I ain't talking about nothing. I'm just talking about what I'm talking about. But you can get a hold to some stuff that may be good to you, but it sure ain't good for you. He said, count it all joy. Now watch this word, count Hagelmai. It is in the plural form, meaning it's not just for me to do it, but you count it all joy. Not just my personal life, but your life as well. Count it is plural. But it's in aorist tense, which means it is a snapshot. He takes a snapshot of our lives that exposes us. There's so much going on in our life. You can't put it all into one basket, but it's in, y'all hear me, it's in the indicative mood. Y'all see me? Which means it's in progress. It's going on. Now, whatever happened in your life, not just what happened yesterday, not just what happened last week, but what's happening now. He said, count now. Count it all joy. Watch this. Count it all joy when. Now, this word when is in the subjective mood, meaning this, that it is not profitable or possible, it is inevitable. In other words, it's not something that just might happen. He's just gonna happen. He's just gonna happen. It's gonna, I know that sometimes when we're young, we don't think we gonna go through nothing. But it's gonna, y'all, it's gonna happen. Help me say it's gonna happen. Yeah, and what I discovered that sometimes we look at the person's glory, but we don't know their story. Let me read something about a fellow. When he was 7 years of age, his family was forced out of their home, and he had to go to work. When he was 9 years old, his mother died. He lost his job as a stock clerk. When he was 20, he wanted to go to law school, but it didn't have enough education. When he was 23 years of age, he went into debt to be a partner in a small business store like I did, same age. 3 years later, the business partner died, and he had to file bankrupt. When he was 28, after courting a girl for 4 years, he asked her to marry him. She turned him down. On his third try, he was elected to Congress at the age of 37, but then he failed to be reelected. His son of the age of 4 years old died. When he was 45, he ran for Senate and lost. At the age of 47, he ran for vice president and lost. But at the age 51, he was elected president of the United States. His name was Abraham Lincoln. He's the fellow in 1863 started the first Thanksgiving Day. You don't know what folk go through, but can I tell you, it's you can experience joy better after you've gone through some stuff. Can I take a couple moments, because y'all don't believe me, can I take a couple moments and show you some stuff that most of us gonna have to go through? If you got a moment, turn if you will, to John chapter 16. John chapter 16. John chapter 16, if you will. I'm gonna give y'all what you want a little bit, but I'm not in a real big hurry. John chapter 16, verse 33, the last verse of John chapter 16. Are you there? It said, these things have I spoken unto you, that in me you might have peace. But in the world you shall have tribulation. The word tribulation is the Greek word flipsy, which means pressure. It said, but be of good cheer. I have overcome the world. Jesus said, you see the little word shall? Jesus said, it's going to happen, y'all. He said, whether you like it or not, you're going to go through some stuff in life. Talk to me if you can. So you're going to go, help me say you're going to go through it. Yeah, you're going to go through some stuff, whether we like it or not. We're going to have to encounter some difficult times. Habakkuk helps us out with it, though. Go to Habakkuk just for a moment. That's over in the Old Testament. That's right before you get to the New Testament. Go to Habakkuk chapter 3 and verse 17, and then I'll go on and preach the rest of this. Habakkuk chapter 3 and verse 17 and 18. Are you there? Listen to what it said. Although the fig trees shall not blossom, neither shall the fruit be in the vines, the labor of the olives.
Hi, I'm Pastor Frank Ray, pastor of the New Salem Church here in the city of Memphis. I am so delighted to be able to come on this good news station. Listen, what a blessing, what a privilege it is to be able to share the gospel throughout the city and the southern region. You can hear us or see us each Saturday night at 10 p.m. and then Sunday night at midnight and Tuesday afternoon at 5:30 p.m. I am looking forward to sharing the word with you. You be blessed.
Habakkuk chapter 3 and verse 17 and 18. Are you there? Listen to what it said. Although the fig trees shall not blossom, neither shall the fruit be in the vines, the labor of the olives shall fail, and the flocks shall yield no meat. The field shall yield no meat. The flock shall be cut off from the fold, and there shall be no herd in the stall. Watch verse 18. Yet will I rejoice in the Lord. I will joy in the God of my salvation. In other words, he said, I ain't got no meat in the deep freezer. I don't have no fruit in the bowls. Talk. I ain't got no clothing to put on. He said, matter of fact, my check didn't show up. He said, but yet I will rejoice in the Lord. Let's go back to our text. He said, watch this. Count it all joy when you fall into diverse temptations. I've always wondered, why is God carrying us through this stuff? Can I give you a few reasons? First reason number one is God sent us through trials to get our attention. Man sold a mule to another man. He told the mule it was a good working mule, so he's worked well. He sold the mule to the man, and the man carried the mule to the field and said to the mule, get up. The mule wouldn't move. Said to him again, get up. The mule wouldn't move. He said to him again, get up, mule. The mule wouldn't move, so he left the mule out in the middle of the field. He went back across the field over to the house where he had bought the mule from and said to this man, I bought this mule. I can't get nothing out of him. Can't get him to move. The man got him a baseball bat and just walked on across the field toward the mule, and he walked up in front of the mule and reared back and hit him right between the ears and dropped the mule on his legs and on his front legs. He said, now tell him to get up. He said, what you do that for? He said, I told you he was a good worker, but I forgot to tell you, you have to first get his attention. God sent us trials to get our attention. Have you had trouble lately? Y'all ain't saying nothing. Yeah. Have you had any trouble? You see, if you're having it, it could be God is just trying to get our attention. He sent trials for us to examine ourselves. See, sometimes you don't think you as bad as you are until you're going through stuff. Because most time when we go through stuff, we point the finger at other folk. He the cause, she the cause, and then when she ain't around, you say, now wait a minute, I'm still going through this. They ain't around, why is I'm going through it and they ain't around now? It helps us examine ourselves. You don't really know who you are when the sun is shining. You don't know who you are when you have 2 or 3 paychecks and 2 or 3 accounts and you can write whatever check you want to write. You don't really know who you are as long as your car is starting and you got 2 or 3 friends that's loving on you and all this. You don't know who you are. But wait until you reach the bottom of the barrel. Wait, talk to me somebody, until the shoulders you've been leaning on ain't there no more. We have to examine ourselves. But trouble comes for us to conquer our pride. Now, I know I'm preaching, y'all. See, a little pride shows up after success. You know, after you discovered that you was summa cum laude. After you've gone through school and your name has been ringing, you have to be really together to keep from being lifted in pride. When you look around other folk and they, and you still getting along with your spouse and everything going well, if you ain't careful, you get beside yourself. And you think that's the way life is. Life ain't like that always. If you happy with your spouse, you need to jump up and shout right now. If y'all ain't saying that. If you getting along and got a good relationship and you speaking to each other and he's still coming home and still got a job, you need to run where he's at now and hug him and kiss him and say, thank God I got a good man. But sometimes when you forget or fail to do that, God will send stuff in your life to conquer your pride. And can I tell you, he can have you the place where he can conquer your pride. But then he sent crisis to remind us of our weakness and his strength. Because too many times we think we can handle it. But God will send stuff on you that you have to admit, this is too big for me. That I need somebody bigger than I am to help me get through this situation. I know most of us think, so I don't care what happens, I can handle it. Well, thank God you can, but I can't. I need some help from somebody bigger than me. Matter of fact, I need somebody, some help from somebody bigger than y'all. I need a shoulder that don't give way. I need a shoulder that won't fall to pieces. I need a shoulder that when I'm at my weakest, he's at his strength. Dwell a witness. Here's what it does. Storms and crises motivate us to call on his name. Preach, Reverend Ray. If you don't call on him no other time, when you down and out, you'll call him. I don't care how you said, I think this one is too big for God. You're going to call him. You're going to help me say you're going to call him. I'm talking to 2 or 3 folks in there now. You ain't saying that, but you already at that point that you've tried other things and you said, listen, I got one more way to do it. I'm going to call on the Lord. And when you call on him, anybody know he will come to see about you. Do I have a witness? Help me say it will motivate us. It will motivate us. But then
so many times our attitude miss up our altitude. Many times we fail because of our own spirit, our own demeanor. The sermon was designed to help us make it through difficult situations just by how the Word of God shared with us that we should count it all joy, even when we fall in the diverse temptation. The 3rd verse said, knowing this, that the trying of your faith worketh patience. We never would have patience if we hadn't gone through some difficult situations in life. I wish I could have shared the whole message with you, but my time has expired, has run out. But I want you to know, and I want you to have a copy of this message. Again, let me say to you, thank you so much for sharing with us. And I want to especially invite you to be a part of the Salem family. Come share with us each Sunday morning at 9:30 a.m. We'd love to see your face in this place. You hear the message preached on television, on radio, and you hear just a portion of it. But it's nothing like live worship service right here, emanating from the walls of Salem. I want you to be our special guest. Please, ma'am, please, sir, join us here in this worship service. You be blessed.
Help me say it will motivate us. It will motivate us. But then, here's what it will also do. Storms will cut the dependent strain that we've been leaning on worldly stuff. See, when you're going through crisis, you've been leaning on your insurance. You've been leaning on your good name to make loans. You've been leaning, talk to me somebody, on your career, your ability to do a little making money and connection with folk. But enough storms come through. You'll cut the cord from the world. And so I can't depend on the world or worldly things. That I've got to find somebody, that I can call on at a midnight hour. That's why James said that when you fall into situations, he said, count it all joy. Now here's what the word really means. Hagemai, it means to lead the way. You see, we always look for somebody else to bail us out. But the text said, here's what you do. When you're going through it, you lead the way. Preach, Reverend Ray. It's kind of like you listening to a tape playing. Talk to me, somebody. And what you want to hear is down the road, and you listen to 3, 4 songs before you get to it. What you have to do is hit the fast forward button. Instead of going through all these songs you don't want to hear, hit the fast forward button. Move it forward to get to the part that you want to hear. He said, the reason when you fall, periopipto in the Greek for the word fall, perio mean around, pipto mean to fall. It really means to be enclosed in. That means every way you look, you're hemmed in. If you try to go back, you're hemmed in. You try to go to the right, you're hemmed in. Talk to me, somebody. It's like being in quicksand. You're surrounded by the quicksand. James said, you're in good shape when you're like that. He said, because now You're not going to depend on you anymore. You're not going to depend on your friends anymore. You're not going to depend on your little degree anymore. You got somebody else you can depend on. Thank God you can call on the Lord. He said when you fall in to divers, Greek word for divers, pachula, it means multicolor. That means your temptation doesn't always come in the same color. No. Sometimes it come red like richness. Sometimes it come black like death. Either one can mess you up. I know people say, if I could just hit the lottery, if I could just hit the right slot machine, if I could just make it, get me a lump sum of money. But how many know money can be detrimental? You don't hear me. I'm looking at somebody and say, let it be detrimental to me. But can I tell you, if you don't know how to handle it, it can mess you up. And most folk think they know how to handle money. But listen, evidently God don't think the way you think. Because if God thought you could handle it, he would give it to you.